When you limit your eating to one intentional meal a day, you're not depriving your body. You're activating a biological process most people never allow to run. Constant eating keeps your system in a perpetual state of processing and storage. It never gets a pause. It never gets to reset. Think about what that really means. If energy keeps coming in without interruption, your body stays focused on handling the incoming supply. Repair, cleanup, and deeper metabolic recalibration get pushed aside because there's always another task at the door. That's what a typical 3-meal routine does. It keeps the machinery running, but never gives it the space to recalibrate. Now remove the constant intake. When food stops coming in, your physiology shifts gears. Instead of processing new fuel, it begins managing what's already there. Stored energy becomes accessible. Cellular maintenance ramps up. Hormonal signals adjust. The body transitions from accumulation to optimization. What we're about to explore is not philosophy or hype. It's biology. We'll move step by step through the 23-hour fasting window and examine exactly what changes internally, hour by hour, so you can understand why consolidating your food into a single deliberate meal may be one of the most metabolically transformative choices you can make. The timer begins the second you finish your last bite. Hours 0 to 4 are still part of the fed state. Your body is busy processing what you just gave it. Nutrients are being broken down, absorbed, and distributed. Glucose rises in the bloodstream, and insulin steps in to manage it. Insulin's role is simple but powerful. When it's elevated, your body is in storage mode. Energy is directed inward. Cells absorb glucose. Excess fuel doesn't float around for long, it gets stored. As long as insulin remains active, your body has no reason to tap into fat reserves. From a biological standpoint, it would make no sense to burn stored fuel while incoming fuel is still abundant. During this window, your body runs primarily on what's immediately available in the bloodstream. Any surplus is converted into glycogen and tucked away in the liver and muscles. Glycogen is short-term storage, easy to access, but limited in capacity. You feel stable, satisfied, normal. Nothing dramatic is happening yet, because your system is still operating on fresh supply. The real shift begins only after this readily available energy starts to decline. Now we move into the next phase, hours 4 to 12, where the internal landscape begins to change. This is the stretch where most people fold. By hour 6 or 8, the surge from your last meal has faded. Blood sugar stabilizes. Insulin begins to retreat. The constant stream of incoming fuel is over. And for the first time, your body has to rely on what's already inside the system. That's when the discomfort shows up. Your brain senses that the quick access energy is tapering off and releases ghrelin, the hormone that creates the sensation of hunger. You feel it as a growl in your stomach, a dip in focus, maybe even a touch of irritability. Most people interpret this moment as danger. They assume something is wrong. It isn't. What you're feeling is not starvation, it's transition. Your body has been conditioned to expect frequent refueling. When that rhythm breaks, there's resistance. Not because you're in trouble, but because you're switching fuel sources. If you don't interrupt the process, your liver steps in. It begins converting stored glycogen back into glucose to keep your blood sugar steady. This is your built-in reserve system doing exactly what it was designed to do. You are not losing muscle. You are not crashing. You are drawing from short-term storage. Now we cross the 12-hour mark. At this stage, glycogen levels are nearing depletion. The easy access reserves are almost gone. And this is where the real metabolic shift begins. Your body has two options: slow down dramatically or adapt. Human physiology evolved for adaptation. As insulin drops to a true baseline, a new signal is unlocked. An enzyme called hormone-sensitive lipase becomes active. Its job is simple. It begins breaking down stored fat into usable energy. This is the moment your system stops running on incoming fuel or short-term savings and starts tapping into long-term reserves. Not as an emergency, not as a failure, but as a built-in survival advantage. The vault isn't forced open, it's unlocked, because the conditions are finally right. For the first time in a while, your body stops leaning on yesterday's meal and starts relying on stored reserves. The energy fueling you now isn't coming from a recent snack. It's coming from your own tissue. You're operating on internal supply. Hours 14 to 16, the transition phase. This is where the experience shifts. The sharp hunger waves that felt urgent earlier often fade. The reason is simple. Instability disappears. When you depend on frequent meals, energy rises and falls. When you shift to stored fat, supply becomes steady. Your body is no longer reacting to spikes. It's drawing from a vast reserve. Even lean individuals carry significant stored energy. Fat is not a flaw in biology, it's a backup system. As fat is broken down, the liver converts fatty acids into ketones. These molecules become a powerful alternative fuel source, especially for the brain. Your brain can't use fat directly, but it can run on ketones. And many people report improved clarity when ketone levels rise. Energy feels stable. Focus tightens. The mental static decreases. From an evolutionary perspective, this makes sense. When food was scarce, dullness would have been a liability. Alertness was survival. Hours 16 to 18. Deeper adaptation. Now we reach a phase that has captured scientific attention. Autophagy. Earlier, we described the body as constantly busy processing incoming fuel. But when that constant intake stops for long enough, something different begins. Cells initiate a repair and recycling process. Damaged proteins, dysfunctional components, and cellular debris are identified and broken down. The raw materials are reused to build new, functional structures. This isn't mystical. It's maintenance. Cells clearing internal waste. Energy factories inside cells, called mitochondria, can be repaired or replaced. Misfolded proteins that might accumulate over time are dismantled. Even certain pathogens can be targeted during this cleanup cycle. Autophagy literally means self-eating, but what it truly represents is renewal. It's an internal restoration program that only activates when the body has enough metabolic quiet to prioritize repair over storage. This is not about willpower, it's about physiology. When the conditions are right, the system shifts from accumulation to optimization. And that shift is where many of the deeper benefits of extended fasting begin to emerge. If food never stops entering the system, deep cellular repair never becomes a priority. Your body stays in processing mode, storage mode, management mode. But once you extend the fast far enough, the internal focus shifts. Instead of handling incoming calories, your physiology begins maintenance. Waste is cleared, damaged components are broken down, resources are recycled. Over time, that internal cleanup can reflect externally. Clearer skin, reduced inflammation, even improvements in lingering aches. When repair is no longer postponed, restoration begins. Hours 20 to 22, the muscle myth. A common fear surfaces here. If I keep fasting, won't my body start consuming muscle? That assumption misunderstands how human physiology works. As the fast deepens, the body doesn't panic. It protects. One of the key responses is a surge in human growth hormone, HGH. Research consistently shows that fasting significantly elevates HGH levels. And HGH is not a muscle-destroying hormone. It is muscle-preserving. It supports tissue retention while fat is mobilized for energy. From a survival standpoint, this makes sense. Lean tissue is functional. It enables movement, strength, and performance. Stored fat exists precisely to be used when external fuel is unavailable. When insulin is low and growth hormone is elevated, the metabolic environment favors fat utilization while safeguarding muscle. That combination is rare in a constantly fed lifestyle. Hour 23, the re-entry point. Now your body is primed. Insulin sensitivity is high. Cells are responsive. Digestion has been resting. Inflammation in the gut has had time to settle. Energy is steady from fat and ketones. Internally, the system is receptive. What you do next determines whether you extend the benefits or undo them. Breaking a long fast with ultra-processed sugar and refined carbohydrates overwhelms a sensitive metabolic state. The insulin spike will be exaggerated. Energy will surge and crash. Bloating and fatigue follow quickly. Instead, the refeed should align with the physiological work that just occurred. Start with high-quality protein. Your body has been recycling and repairing. Now it needs raw materials to rebuild. Amino acids are foundational. Add healthy fats. Since your metabolism is already efficiently oxidizing fat, this supports stable energy without dramatic insulin spikes. Include mineral-rich, fiber-dense vegetables. Electrolytes such as potassium and magnesium matter more when you're eating once daily. Volume and micronutrients prevent fatigue, cramps, and hormonal misfires. When you refeed this way, something interesting happens. Satiety signals normalize. Leptin and ghrelin begin communicating properly. You stop eating when nourished, not when overstimulated. The adaptation phase, transitioning into one meal a day abruptly, can feel rough. Metabolic flexibility, the ability to switch between fuel sources, takes time to develop. In the beginning, headaches, weakness, or brain fog can occur. Often, this isn't a flaw in the method. It's an electrolyte shift. When insulin drops, sodium and water are excreted more rapidly. Replenishing sodium, even something as simple as adding salt to water, can dramatically improve how you feel. Gradual progression works best. Extend the fasting window slowly. Allow your liver and enzymes to adapt. This is skill building at the cellular level. That said, fasting is a stressor. If someone is already chronically stressed, sleep-deprived, pregnant, managing metabolic disease, or dealing with disordered eating patterns, extended fasting requires medical supervision or may not be appropriate. Context matters. We live in an environment engineered around constant consumption. Hunger is framed as danger, but hunger is a signal, not an emergency. When understood and managed correctly, it becomes a tool. Beyond fat loss, beyond convenience, consolidating meals restores control over energy regulation. You are no longer reacting to blood sugar swings. You become metabolically stable. You're not weakening the body. You're teaching it to operate as designed. If you experiment with this approach, observe the experience. Did you struggle during the early transition? Or did clarity increase as the fast deepened? The physiology tells a story, and your body will give you feedback.